what who doesn't like the heat? Summer has a cruel sense of humor because I am raising my forecast from yesterday's video. This will be an update on what's going to be happening over the next couple of days, including my promised featurette on ocean temperatures and certain microclimates that will affect some areas during this heat wave. The National Weather Service watches and warnings list shows an excessive heat warning for the Columbia River Gorge, the Willamette Valley, and the Northern Coast Range, while a heat advisory is in effect for Central Oregon, the Cascades, the Washington Lowlands, and the Northern Oregon coast, both running from Sunday at 11 a.m. to Wednesday at 10 p.m. In addition, a red flag warning is in effect from Sunday at 12 a.m. to Monday at 8 p.m. and the Cascade foothills up to the Cascade Crest on the west side of the Cascades, and the eastern foothills of the Coast Range up to the Coast Range Crest in Oregon. In Washington, the red flag warning only applies on the Cascades side of the western valleys. Onto the setup for this event, and this is going to matter when it comes to the microclimates. So an upper level high pressure system, or a ridge, is going to be set up off the coast of British Columbia on Sunday into Monday. Now, as we move towards the middle of next week, that high pressure system will start to move further west, and while it will bring the Portland metro area a tad bit of relief, though not a lot, it'll bring areas closer to the microclimate areas I'm going to be mentioning a lot more relief during the evening and overnight hours only. So these high pressure systems will cause offshore flow, aka in this case either a northerly or easterly depending on location. Those winds will start to ramp up tomorrow, will continue into Monday, will still be present on Tuesday, but I do expect it to start to lighten up on Tuesday. And then Wednesday, only a certain area, specifically east of I-5, will see these winds. Now, these winds also increase the fire danger, hence the red flag warning. Now, once this high pressure system moves west, and this is what the microclimates have to do with it, there's going to be some onshore flow in a few areas and gaps in the Coast Range that will cause cooler air to leak through the Coast Range in certain points. Now, where are those points? Specific points that I've noticed most commonly are in the Salmon River / South Yamhill River or valleys, plus the Yaquina / Marys River valleys. I denoted the rivers in blue lines here as close as I could get to it on Google Maps. And as you could see, the heads of these rivers are reasonably close to one another. And because the Coast Range is not as tall, nor is it super wide there compared to the northern Coast Range north of Tillamook and further or south of Waldport, it's easier for cooler air to funnel through the Coast Range, at least less inhibited that way. But once it gets through the Coast Range, that funnel is gone. Therefore, it doesn't have as much force to keep the wind speed going. And because it's conflicting with offshore flow, which is in this case, a little bit of a bigger force, that's going to mean that this only really gets inland about 5 to 10 miles from these two out points. Now, some of the other river valleys like the Siuslaw and the Nehalem River can see this, but the effect is a lot less pronounced. This also primarily occurs from 4 to 11 p.m. during heat waves, so it doesn't affect highs more than about 2 to 3 degrees, but that high temperature happens a little bit earlier in the day as a result, and these areas receive relief a lot quicker. Winds generally are around 15 miles per hour or on the high end, but they can gust up to 25 miles per hour, and it's not uncommon in these areas to see a 10-degree drop. Now, how this so-called marine heat wave affects temperatures, and ocean temperatures right now are about 3 degrees Celsius above average, which is about 5.5 degrees Fahrenheit right off the coast of Oregon. Now, in these setups, they don't affect the high temperatures more than about half a degree, and even with westerly winds, also known as onshore flow, it'll only affect it by about a degree Fahrenheit. And this is because land warms a lot quicker than ocean, and the oceans pretty much just absorb heat. It also means land cools off quicker than the oceans do. This is when low temperatures come in, because low temperatures are heavily correlated with the ocean temperature anomalies, especially if there is onshore or flow occurring. So those microclimates, it won't get as cold as it should, given that the ocean would be at an average temperature rather than 3 degrees Celsius above average. Now, this effect is also, as a result, less pronounced with the classic setup than what we're seeing, because the classic heat wave setup involves a high pressure system that is parked either directly to the north or a little bit to the northeast of our area, and a second, in this case, a low pressure system, what we call a thermal low, parked either on the coast or a little bit to the west. And this is what brings a lot of offshore flow, in this case easterly wind, and that can warm the temperatures in the summertime. Now, some forecast notes for my upcoming 7-day forecast is that the heat wave looks more intense than yesterday. I gave some probable ranges for yesterday based on the forecast that I had at the time, but based on new data that I've seen today, I am increasing my forecast, and now the probable range for Portland's anywhere from about 105 to 110 degrees, and Corvallis is even higher, from 106 to 112 degrees. As a sidebar for Corvallis, the all-time record high temperature is 110 degrees, and that was only set 2 years ago during what I called the mother of all heat waves. In addition, all-time record warm lows are in jeopardy. I don't know off the top of my head what it is for Corvallis, but for Portland, that is 75 degrees, and I am forecasting that that low is going to be tied. The winds I'm anticipating on Monday and Tuesday, winds are going to come from the northeast from a speed of about 10 to 20 miles per hour. Again, I anticipate that that will die off going throughout the day on Tuesday. Areas closest to the Cascades will see heavier winds than the western portions of the valley on the latter half of this heat wave, but earlier on it'll be more evenly distributed. The microclimate effects kick in Tuesday right around 4 p.m. and this is a pretty dry heat wave with humidity ranging between 15 and 30%. This does mean if you're outside, dehydration does occur more quickly, because you're going to sweat more because that sweat is evaporating. And I do think there's a chance, at least for some higher humidity Tuesday and beyond, if you are near those coast range gaps, but I don't anticipate that humidity, it will either A, feel muggy at all, and B, I don't think it'll get above 45%, and except during the coolest parts of the day. And as a side note, ACs are designed to lower temperatures inside only from about 20 to 25 degrees compared to the outside temperatures. So in the case of my forecast, if it's using the high end here, 110 degrees, inside would be somewhere between 85 and 90 degrees. So it's going to not just be hot outside, but it's going to be pretty warm inside too. So make sure you hydrate going into tomorrow, Monday, and Tuesday. So on to the 7-day forecast for the Portland metro area. The next 3 days in a row, I am anticipating daily record hot temperatures with 102 degrees on Sunday. Monday, I'm I'm anticipating an August all-time record hot temperature of 108 degrees, and Tuesday 105 degrees with lows all in the 70s, with Monday night into Tuesday being that aforementioned tying of the all-time record warm low. If you call 101 degrees relief, we'll get some on Wednesday, a little bit more quote-unquote reasonable for a heat wave on Thursday, and actual relief coming into the weekend on Friday and Saturday with highs only in the 80s and low temperatures cooling to right around 60 degrees. For areas in the southern Willamette Valley, I'm anticipating temperatures will be warmer to begin the heat wave regardless of your location in the southern Willamette Valley. Where Sunday I'm anticipating 104 degrees. On Monday I'm anticipating 109 degrees, and on Tuesday 102 degrees. All those are daily record high temperatures. Low temperatures will be right around 70 degrees for all of those days, and as we go into Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, areas closer to those microclimates will see temperatures maybe even a degree or two lower than this, but if you're further away from those like Salem, Springfield, Lebanon, I would anticipate you could probably add a few degrees to these numbers because your high temperatures will be a little bit later in the day. High temperatures anywhere from 90 to 100 degrees depending on the day. And like the Portland area, I do anticipate relief will come everywhere by the weekend with highs in the 80s and lows around 60 degrees. So that is going to be it for this video. I cannot promise a video tomorrow, though I will try to get a shorter video out that pretty much will just cover the updated 7-day and the forecast notes if I think it needs a slide. Otherwise, stay safe and stay cool out there and take care.